Remember how back in 2021, Disney made Star Wars anime short films for their streaming service? Well, it turns out, in 2023, the series came back to show more, but this time, there were shorts that used various animation styles, not just one. And now, I shall rank the 9 newer episodes of the cartoon anthology series from worst to best, as some are greater than others. In case you haven't seen the finest pieces of media on the sci-fi saga on Disney+, I got you a spoiler alert so that the dyad may be bonded. Get on your space pod, as no extra fuel is needed to be forced into it. Hey, I'm Owen the Fictionboy, and here are the top 9 Star Wars Visions episodes from Volume 2. Screecher's Reach. Young Dahl spent her life in a workhouse and convinced friends Bathon, Quinn, and Kina to join her on a quest to Screecher's Reach, a cave that was rumored to be the home of a ghost within the walls, and they are eager to find it. During their expedition, though, Dahl had been motivated by the strange necklace she had in her possession, and they find out the ghost is really an old Sith apprentice woman who had been trapped inside. While I won't say that I hate this episode, what made me dislike it is that it's mostly the usual trope of kids seeking something scary, like a campfire story, only to add Star Wars material to make it fit the IP. Also, I am not a fan of how Dahl killed the ghost, and that Dahl was on the path to be a Sith, making me not emphasize with her about betraying her friends. The other episodes, mostly, get better from here. The Pit. With the Empire having taken over the planet, many Imperial slaves were forced to dig a giant pit in the middle of the desert in search of kyber crystals used to power a nearby city. Once the slaves have reached the very bottom where they couldn't dig any deeper, the stormtroopers have totally ditched them. The one fateful day, Crux was able to escape and tried asking the city citizens if they could help him and his people get out of their pit prison. Not going to lie, I felt pretty bored for the majority of this episode, and the only slightly intriguing thing that happens is when the city people notice the pit people, yet the message about a powerful phrase making a big difference had been done to death at this point. At least you also do get the impression of never giving up hope, and good things come to those who deserve it, while the liars get what was coming to them. The Bandits of Golak. Siblings Charuk and Rani had no choice but to abandon their home and go to the city of Golak. The sister is force sensitive, and the moment the brother couldn't hide the secret on their train ride, they get caught, but a rebel group called the Jangoris managed to save the siblings. Upon retreating to an oasis, you would think that there wouldn't be any more problems to deal with, yet as you can tell, that was not the case when an Inquisitor made his appearance. Despite kind of liking this episode, the animation is pretty much similar to CGI shows like The Clone Wars, Rebels, and The Bad Batch, making this feel a bit out of place. What does work here is the duel between the elderly Order 66 Jedi survivor Rugal and the Inquisitor, and I was a bit sad to see the siblings depart, since they had a nice bond, though Rani needed to do her training, hence the way she bid farewell. In the Stars. The Empire has conquered the home of 2 sisters named Khotin and T'China, who had a mother that tried leading a rebellion against the Empire, and sadly they failed. Yet the younger sibling believed they could beat the enemies with the Force, while the older sibling spent most of her time looking after the only family member she has left. Upon running out of water on the dried up and polluted planet, Khotin snuck into the factory to get more, with T'China also getting involved. Just like the previous entry, I kinda like it, but this time, my issue is that most of the time, the sisters are bickering at each other, though I will say the animation is neat and was a bit surprised with Koten being the one to actually use the Force. Also, the ending with the sisters reuniting on the planet being much cleaner and seeing their mother in the stars is simply an ending that is beautiful. The Spy Dancer. Stormtroopers have been visiting a high-class club run by heterochromic aliens with Loie, the primary dancer, leading a fraction of the Rebel Alliance and places trackers on the gear of the Stormtroopers. Yet one night, she was off guard when she saw an officer's face, reminding her of an infant child being taken away from her, so she wanted to kill the officer, even when her allies were against that idea, and that causes her cover to be blown along with a battle occurring. I can safely say we are now at the truly good shorts, as I really like the flash animation used, and despite the twist of the Empire officer being the child Loie lost all those years ago, not being the best in this series, it's still a solid one, and she made it possible for her to find him, leaving hope that they both can successfully get together on the right side and bring peace, alongside entertainment, to the galaxy. Journey to the Dark Head. While the Jedi and Sith were practically at war, a monk named Ara saw the stones that foresee the future control both light and dark, and wanted to destroy the Dark Head, as she thought it would make a big difference in the war. Years later, she requested to have a bodyguard accompany her on the journey, so they let her have a young Padawan named Tol, who was in constant fear after having lost his master to a sadistic Sith Lord named Bi-Chan. I am glad that we got an anime-influenced short, as it's better than no anime at all, though I also admire the bond between the monk, who's now a mechanic, and the Padawan, as well as Tol trying to keep it together and not having his fear of coming to the dark side get to him, as the future may not always be set in stone, but we all must do our best to not let anyone decide our fates for us. Sith. Lola is a former Sith apprentice who lives on her own in a desolate planet with little droid E2 being her only companion, and she tries to channel in the Force to paint her base. However, no matter how hard she tries, dark smudges keep interfering with her work and they don't want to go away. Upon a droid crashing onto the planet, a Sith Master had appeared, battling Lola with a desire that she would strike him down to go to the dark side. Man, does this short deliver in both style and substance or what? The animation and colors are absolutely stunning, and you are hoping Lola can win without turning to the path of evil, yet she accepts that one side can't exist without the other. So no matter what the Sith Master says before dying, Lola gets to be in control of her own destiny as being her own master, informing us she has put herself in good hands once leaving her old home. I am your mother. Not long after the Empire has been defeated, a flight academy for new pilots was made, with Annie being inspired by her mother, Kalina, to try out for the race, yet the daughter sees her mom as embarrassing, so Annie tried keeping the race a secret, and she's also been picked on by her biggest rival, Julen, and her mother, Dorota, pilots a much fancier ship. But once Kalina knows about the race, she and Annie plan on showing the bullies how to pilot properly. Gee, this is one short I'd definitely be happy to see on rewatches of the series, as the stop motion was well crafted, and whether you root for Annie or not, surely you'll be delighted upon seeing her and Kalina working together, as nobody wants Julen and Dorota to win. And as long as your mother is a good one, be sure you accept her, even if she's meant to be embarrassing. But not as much so as how Julen and Dorota felt about losing, lol. Auson. The Sith may not be around in their world, but Korba still has quite the problem on the planet, as the inhabitants are trying to help the Jedi purify the Kyber crystals, the power source of the lightsabers, which have been infected by the Sith. A young girl named Au has a powerful singing voice that has quite the unusual effect on the crystals, and her father, Abbot, had been meaning to heal the crystals for a Jedi named Kratu. Au had been told that her singing is dangerous, yet little does Abbot know that his daughter's power is the answer to all their problems. It was tough figuring out which stop-motion short was superior to the other, though in the end, I thought this one was better just by a bit, and if Star Wars couldn't get Disney-esque under the House of Mouse's control beforehand, it certainly has now, as Ao has such a sweet singing voice, so sweet that it healed the crystals. Also, don't tell me you didn't shed any tears when she had to leave her father to fulfill her destiny with Kratu. This is undoubtedly the best short in the second set of unique animated short films. Still need more fiction? Then please give this video a like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications. Also comment below and follow me on Instagram for teasers and thumbnail previews of videos to come in the future. Thanks for watching, see you again soon, and good night-o!